fight.
You know how Snoop Dogg recently just like did the thing with going Rasta?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, he's like
Snoop
the
Lion.
reincarnated, yeah, he's the reincarnated Bob Marley, etc. So my thoughts are like hip hop, rap, whatever kind of boundary you want to put on it, it's changing kind of dynamically as time goes on. And I wanted to have you weigh in on kind of like the current state, like Wiz or whoever's like doing their thing right now. Kind of what is your take on like the evolution of where it is? Because like you and I and a lot of people come from a very conscious based philosophy of how we approach it. So just kind of give me a little bit of, I just want to kind of
it's crazy because like right? the beautiful thing to me is like I also think the place we came from was there was more than just one style. You know what I mean? Like there was you had conscious rappers and you had gangster rappers and you had happy rappers and you had like street turf rappers.
Granola backer.
It was
rappers,
all like, you know what I'm saying, like KRS-One and Kid and Play and Public Enemy. Like, you know what I'm saying, you had all these different places. So it was never just like, this is what rap is. You know what I mean? It was always a bunch of things, and I think actually now it's getting back to that more than it has been. For a while it's just like rap is pretty bravado, pretty tough. And that's kind of what it is, and if it's not, you're really on the fringes. Where I think right now, like with these cats with like Wiz Khalifa, and like Kanye and Mac Miller, like cats aren't necessarily like thuggy or gangster, but they can be. You know what I mean? And they can also dress like crazy weird. They can dress like Andre 3000 and still maintain street credibility. You know what I mean? So they can be whole human beings again, which I think is so good, man.
It's liberating as an artist.
Yeah, man. Because for a while it was just too one-dimensional. You know what I mean? The radio played this type of a rapper, and this is what rap meant. And if you weren't, you were kind of outside. And I love De La Soul, and I love NWA. You know what I'm saying?
And you can't get on the most opposite ends
right.
of the spectrum.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and now it seems like you can. You know what I mean? Like I think Mac Miller rocks over like a Lord Finesse beat, you know what I mean? But at the same time, dude can be like, street too, which is dope to me, man. I think it's positive.
Like Hawkins, Shelly Similar, Mac Mall, like all those cats from the Bay, man, and from LA. Like I grew up in LA, so I'm a fan of like West Coast, not only rap, but West Coast early gangster rap, because it was conscious rap too. It's been defined as gangster rap in the later years, but those cats were really speaking some truth. So, man, I try to incorporate, all of that. Like, mostly what I got from that music was that there was some sort of a message in it. Even if it was a cat who was on some street, like, you could tell he was sincere and what he was talking about was real. So I just try to make sure I continue to have that in my music. But at the same time, making sure that the party kind of comes first. Because I really think that's super important, even if you have a message. If people aren't dancing, then it's just going to fall flat.
That's right.
Yeah.
I had music in my life from a young age. At what age were you when you were introduced to music?
Oh, yeah. My dad was a DJ.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up with my dad had a microphone. He used to be in the house. It used to be like broadcasting live. So, and he'd be like, turn off the music. Like, we couldn't have any music on, no TVs, nothing on when he was broadcasting live, and he would just play, soul, funk, jazz, loud through the house, and he had a microphone, he'd break it every once in a while just to say something, through the house. So it was always there.
You mentioned your dad. Is there anyone else who you'd like to thank as far as kind of influencing you along your kind of quest?
Luckily I had a big brother, man, and my big brother had friends, so I was always kind of like spoon-fed my music, and since I was, you look up to your big brother, what they were listening to is what I was listening to, you know what I mean? So my dad had a friend from back east who would always send mixtapes, you know what I mean? And then like my big brother, when hip hop was happening, I would just peep them and what they were listening to, and they'd be like, this is dope, this is why this is good, this is why, and it just kind of formed my love for not just the music but the culture, you know what I mean?
That's what's up. I do. Last question. How important do you think it is for kids, the youth, to get involved in music and the arts?
Man, I think it's extremely, extremely important. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the things that opens people up. You know what I mean? Like art is what is what, you know, when you're you know, the life, man, is pretty much it can be a grind and a struggle. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful too, but art is one of the things that lets that humility come out, you know, that breathes that consciousness of something higher than yourself. You know, it becomes you're just like a vessel, you know, when you're creating. If you're drawing, if you're like even if you're just like walking down the street whistling, you know what I mean, you lose yourself just for a moment. And I think that when you lose yourself, you consciously or unconsciously, you realize that there's something bigger.
I look forward to losing myself to more of your tunes. I appreciate what you do. Thank you for your time.
No doubt, thank you.
I give you my word, keep on pushing, man. You get knocked down, get back up. Yeah. If I meditated with the wind.